Welcome to NRL 360 Rugby League from every angle. Joining me again, the great Gordon Tallis. Let's bring the journos in. Paul Crawley and Dean Ritchie. Special mention tonight, Bulldog.
What's that for, bro?
That beautiful shirt of yours.
You like it?
Yeah, it brings out your eyes.
Aqua.
Yeah,
it might have a couple of lengths on your brown.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, all right. Jack Wighton has arrived at NRL HQ as he fronts the judiciary to fight a potential 4-match ban for a shoulder charge on Toby Rudolph. James Hooper is covering proceedings and Hoops. What's the latest?
Evening, Braith. Well, the Bunnies are absolutely adamant that Jack Wighton did not shoulder charge the Cronulla Sharks prop forward Toby Rudolph. Now, so far the NRL prosecutor has said this case is going to come down to two critical factors. Was the contact forceful, and also was it careless? Now, they are also mounting an extremely strong case that Jack did in fact have his right arm tucked into his body, which would constitute a shoulder charge. South Sydney cert completely the opposite. They are adamant that it was merely accidental contact. They concede that there was a fair degree of force involved. Jack had planted his feet, but then also managed to get leading with his outside shoulder, which led to his head then coming into contact with Toby Rudolph. Now, there's still a lot to play out, but for the Bunnies, this is critical because Jack Wighton has been named their captain this weekend. We know they're fighting to avoid the wooden spoon. They have been decimated by injuries. Latrell Mitchell, Cameron Murray, Cody Walker, Campbell Graham, Keon Koloamatangi, to name a few. So we'll keep you updated over the course of the evening. The men who will make the decision ultimately will be ex-referee Greg McCallum and also the champion Queensland State of Origin forward Bob Lindner. We'll keep you updated over the course of the night, Braith.
Go on your Hoops, we'll try and check in a little later. Now, Jack Wighton, does he have a chance? He's obviously fighting this. Gordy, what do you think?
He'd have a slight chance because it was a head clash. I don't think that the shoulder charge was that bad. So I do give him a slight chance, Braith. I thought the grading was wrong, but they don't normally change their decisions, Crawls.
I didn't think it was a shoulder charge, and the moment I saw it, I thought immediately, and even the commentators in the game, Kevin Walters was there, and I forget who the other person was, but they both thought it was a head clash. Yeah. So after the game, I went back and watched it multiple times, and I thought when you slow this tackle down, you will see that Rudolph steps from his left to his right, and I reckon that wrong foot's Jack. And I reckon Jack was going in, sure, he was going in and put a big shot, but I reckon at that last moment, that's what tricked him. And it was a head clash. I don't think it was a shoulder charge.
I think it was just a good hit Jack Wighton was trying to produce to inspire his side that just went wrong. He's saying it's head-on-head, and it clearly was, because you can see Toby Rudolph here, looks like he's unconscious there. But the only reason it was head-on-head because Jack was that close trying to produce a shoulder charge. So I think the shoulder charge will stand tonight, and I think it's a real challenge for Jack to get off.
Yeah. I saw it as a rugby league collision because of the step. Like, you tell me, if someone wrong foots you like that, like, he wasn't setting up for a shoulder charge.
Yeah. Now, the only thing that goes against him is they revert back to the onus is on the defender for the safety of the attacker, you know, and it's up to Jack to not go in so hard and careless, because then the result may have not been this way. Like I'm watching it like you were and thinking, well, that's an accident. You know, there was no intent to take his head off or to make contact with his head, and it was kind of unavoidable. But then the argument from the NRL again is, well, it is avoidable if he doesn't go in as hard and as careless.
So is that a dangerous tackle of another form, or is it a shoulder charge? Because again, if you go back to the charge of being a shoulder charge,
well, they're saying
I don't think it is.
They're saying it was the shoulder charge that led to the head collision. So that's why they've got it as a shoulder charge. Do you think he wrapped his arms in...
No, because I honestly thought he got wrong-footed and he was probably planning to hit Rudolph, so on Rudolph's right, and his timing was out.
Jack's got a duty of care too. Just
because
a bloke
but I'm
puts
saying
a late...
the charge, dog.
I know,
the charge of a dangerous tackle is different to a shoulder charge.
It is. But if a bloke puts a late step on you with some footwork, it's the duty of care of the defender to alter his defensive style as well. You can't just say, you put a late step on me, sorry, I've clunked you in the melon. It doesn't work that way.
Dog, you broke this story. Belinda Sharpe dropped after a 15-3 penalty count and 6 again count in South's loss. What's the mail here, Dog?
Yeah, Belinda's been demoted this week. Braith, it was 15-3 to Cronulla in 6 agains, as you said, and penalty count, but I don't think that was the specific reason. There were times when perhaps the game got a little too fast for her, perhaps. She was a little bit confused at times, particularly around one tackle count. She won't be in the bunker this week either. They've decided that she will be axed and go onto the sideline as a touch judge. So unfortunate for Belinda, but look, I think maybe in the last couple of weeks her form has been modest at best. And with the NRL going into the finals, we really start to find out who are the elite referees, because we've got finals just around the corner.
Yeah, she was clearly off the pace in that game. And it was highlighted, like you mentioned, with the tackle count that where she just got it wrong. I thought it was a one-sided game. When you watched it and you're watching the two sides playing, and I know we spoke about this during Origin, but a 10-2 penalty count, and what was it? Was it a 5-1, 6 again restart? It was out of control.
Yeah, you just hope that they're consistent. Because Belinda, like she is trying her best. You just hope that if any other, referee struggles like that, they get the same treatment.
Yeah, it's a professional game though, Gordy.
Yep.
It's a professional game.
I totally agree, because the Titans thought they were probably a little bit hard done by the week before at Leichhardt as well.
Now, watching the game, I thought the Bunnies were hard done by with the officiating, and this was one instance that you thought they got it wrong.
You tell me. When you're looking at this, does he bobble that or not?
It's contentious.
And is there a hand from Souths on it?
It was a contentious one. I remember watching this, and the only thing that swayed me a little bit was that they awarded it a try. And I'm looking at, am I convinced 100% that it's a knock on? Does his arm come off the ball completely? I wasn't sure. That was my take. I don't know. What did you think?
The bunker had a fair crack at it, Braith. This wasn't Belinda Sharpe. She awarded the try, but the bunker obviously made the final ruling there. Look, there is separation there.
I know the bunker ruled it, but does that not look like a knock-on to you?
If you let me finish, I'll say it. I think there is separation there, but under the current rules, does he lose total control? Is there some part of his body on the ball?
I've seen
it both ways. I've seen it both ways.
Isn't the rule you don't need control, you only need downward pressure? Over
Separation is what they said.
Correct.
Separation, but it looks like that he's probably regained it a little bit.
I think you can argue both ways with some conviction.
I agree.
If you had bloody...
The NRL said...
No, that's a 50-50. If you're a South fan, you say no try. If you're a Sharks fan, you say it's a try.
The NRL said that he remained in control of the ball and there was no separation.
Yeah.
Blinkers.
All right, come on, Crawls. You're wrong.
You watch it 100 times.
It's a try every day of the week.
Time. Well, there's no question he bobbled.
There is a bobble in there, but we could argue or not. Now, Jerome Hughes has turned his back on millions from incoming expansion teams to ink a 4-year extension at the Storm. The superstar half says it was never about the money.
Super excited and yes, grateful to have the opportunity to stay here for a couple more years and to finally get it done. It's I guess it's been in the works for a little while now. Now that I've re-signed, I'll definitely be in the ears of those blokes to re-sign. I think Harry's off soon, and I think Paps is off soon as well. Munster's got a couple more years, but there's always going to be rumours about that sort of stuff. And I hope that's not the case. Personally, I think it's all rumours, but don't worry, I'll get into his ear and make sure he doesn't go anywhere. For Jonah and the type of player he is, he could walk into, most NRL clubs and be the starting halfback there. So, like you said, there might be a clause in his contract to go elsewhere, and it's a tough one for Jonah. And I'm sure, himself, his family and his management will sort something out.
A huge announcement and a great signing for the Melbourne Storm. Jerome Hughes inking another deal with the club, which, he's been exceptional for them for a long time. And he's probably been at his best the last few years. So no surprise that the Melbourne Storm have kept him.
Well, and it's true to what they do, don't they? They sort of rely on their spine, and they pay them a lot of money, and then they sort of get the rest of the guys off the scrap heap without disrespect. And Jerome's the first piece of the puzzle, and Harry and Munster and Paps would be the next ones that you'd think that they'd want to keep.
Great kicking game, but his running game, is there a better running halfback in the NRL?
No, he's great.
You could probably argue no if you really broke it down. Look, I think it's a great achievement for Jerome Hughes, but what about Craig Bellamy's contribution here? He's taken another fullback, as he did with Cooper Cronk, and turned him into the best halfback in rugby league.
How many players do you reckon he's made millionaires?
Oh, dozens.
Yeah, well, I agree with what Dog says. From Bellamy, one game at the Titans, one game at the Cowboys. He goes to Melbourne. There was, 3 or 4 blokes lining up for the fullback position at that point of his career. He turns him into a halfback. The patience that they've shown along the way, and it's just great coaching. It's a great system. And look, they've done it with Cameron Munster. They do it with every bloke that comes there, and they make them into these multi-million-dollar players. But it's the system that does it for them.
Hey,
Why do they always say it's not about money?
well, it mightn't have been.
Everyone
because
says
no,
that.
do you know what?
It is about money.
Well,
and you know what? Good luck to them for getting the money, but you don't have to
he may
keep
have
saying it's
gotten
not
more
about
somewhere
money.
else.
He would have
He
been
may have got a
very
little bit-
handsomely paid in Melbourne.
Yes, yeah, that's
And
right.
good luck
name
to
his
him. I'm not
price
being
anyway.
critical. I just wonder why every NRL player feels it's his obligation to say, I'm not going or staying for the money. It is about the money. And good luck to them.
Okay, it's about the money.
Yeah, I'm here tonight. You know why? Because of the money.
Oh, no, it's because of your talent, dog.
Thank you, Cordy.
Mate, what about Jerome? He spoke about Peasant.
Yeah.
He said that there may be a clause to get out.
Yeah, so Jonah, he signed a long-term deal with Melbourne, which the club put a lot of faith and trust into him, and Jonah's done the same because Jonah's ready. You know, he's ready for first grade, and we put a clause in there that if Jerome re-signed, because we weren't sure if Jerome was going to stay on or not at that point, because there's a lot of rumours about him going to either Perth or Gold Coast at one point and all that, and because I think and we think that Jonah's ready to be a full-time first grade 7, I put a clause in that if Jerome re-signs, he's off contract. So we've got to catch up with Melbourne over the next sort of week or so and discuss that. I know that Melbourne love him, and I'm not so sure they want to let him go. So it's just whether we can work that out so that he can stay, or even a possibility of a loan next year, you know, for the year and then come back like Harry did with the West Tigers. So there's a bit to play out there, but that's how it sits right now.
It's
Can
an
I ask
interesting
you-
time, though, for his career, isn't it? Like, he's 22 years of age. For at least 3 years, people have been describing him as the next big thing. And he just hasn't had an opportunity through injury or the players in front of him to get that chance. And I kind of... You look at a guy like Ethan Strange, when he was in the Roosters system and no one really knew about him, he took a chance, he took a gamble, he went to Canberra. I have no doubt if Ethan Strange was still at the Roosters, he'd probably be struggling to play NRL.
It's a good point you make, because there's only so long you can wait and be patient. You don't want that time to go past too, where you're not playing against the best every week. You know, you want to be tested, and he has been really patient, Crawls, you know, but it's time, you know, it's time for him to be in a first grade team. So, you know, I want to give him that opportunity.
Braith, you're a
can I
busy
ask
boy, mate.
you,
What about Cam Munster?
Oh,
I
God.
was going to ask you, Munster. I know it's difficult for you to talk about because you're his manager, but it all intertwines down there because Peasant's move could depend on whether Munster goes or how it all comes together as a jigsaw puzzle.
There is a bit of the puzzle to play out, but just on that, I mean, there's been no contact with the Bears, and we haven't spoke to Melbourne about them letting him go either. You know, obviously, I would think the Bears would be interested because, take the management hat off, and even just as a league supporter, I think they'd be interested.
There'd be most clubs looking at
You know,
Cam.
like he'd be perfect for them to build a franchise around. But again, that's really nothing until we have a conversation. If we have a conversation with Melbourne, because Melbourne might not be interested in even having that, and we might not even talk to them about it. So it's all speculation right now. But obviously, it's going to be a talking point because, you know, the Bears are in. They need players, and you know, Cameron would be a fair player to start the club with, wouldn't he? You know?
He's there until 27.
27. Now, he's got 2 more years, so that's the whole thing here. It's really a non-event right now, but who knows down the track?
It's as Jerome said, it's not about the money, but it is about the money because every team has a salary cap, and when Cameron's next up, it becomes about the money because he has to look after himself and do what's in his best interest. The Bears would be a logical choice. Like, what's Cameron, 30 now? 2 years' time, he's 32. He's had an opportunity to win a couple more comps or put himself in that position. But ultimately, the Bears do need a big player like him to go over there and be the head. Of course, they're going to have interest.
He'd have to get a year early release, though, Crawls, to go to the Bears. Well, he's
Oh,
under
to be their
contract till
marquee.
27, and the Bears are in 27. So he'd bet the Melbourne Storm that first year the Bears are in. I spoke to people in and around Melbourne today, and they were saying there's absolutely no appetite whatsoever to let him go
No,
early.
you wouldn't.
I mean, he's Cameron Munster. Why would you let him go early? Unless, of course, you know, as we know, Braith, well, you know, as being a manager, circumstances change very quickly in rugby league.
Yep. All right, now reports Ryan Papenhuyzen met with Rugby League 360. They've stolen our name. They're bosses. What do we make of this? This is starting to pick up a bit of momentum. What is it? R360.
360.
I made a couple of
Rebel
calls
Rugby.
yesterday. I rang a few managers. There's a lot of scepticism out there as to whether it will actually come off. But the more the time goes on, you start to feel that the tentacles are getting into rugby league. I don't think it'll be a mass exodus out of the game. The one advantage I understand is that they are offering US dollars, and it could be well over $1 million. So, yeah, that becomes $2 million essentially with the dollar exchange.
You would think they'd get the fringe players, wouldn't you? They wouldn't go after the big guys.
Oh, well, if it is what it is, money to them won't be
a problem. Yeah.
So you would go after the better players. And like from a rugby league perspective, it's not the biggest problem in the world because there's so much talent out there. However, the names that have been mentioned so far, Ponga, Papenhuyzen, their target is the superstars, which would be the concern for the game.
It's not the first time. With Wendell and Lottie, Matt Rogers, Sonny Bill Williams, Sam Burgess, we've lost through Israel Folau and Carmichael Hunt to AFL. Our game's lost some really big names, but we've just, right now, it's the highest rating in the sport.
With no disrespect to Ryan Papenhuyzen or even Kalen, if one of them were to go, our game wouldn't suffer. It'd only be if it was a handful or quite a 10, 15 players, really, anything over 5. But if it's only 1 or 2 here or there, I don't think it would suffer. One the question I want to ask, and if I was the NRL, I would try and do this, and I'm not sure if they're allowed, but if they went, any player that went, could you say, all right, if you leave, you can't come back, or is that?
I don't think legally you could say you cannot come back to our game. That would have to be up to the clubs, albeit the NRL would have to register the contract. I don't think you would be able to lawfully say you cannot play in our game because you've gone to a rival code.
They could if they broke a contract.
Yeah.
Correct.
Like that would.
If they go after their contract, they would be legally.
Yeah, if they went after the contract, you couldn't stop them coming back.
I mean, look at Sonny Bill.
Braith, you're right though. Like
Sonny Bill was never going to play rugby
we
league
lost
again.
Suwali. Has the game suffered? Has the Roosters suffered? Yeah, they've lost a good player, but Robert Toyer comes along. Marky Mark comes along. Like players just jump out of the ground every year.
Yeah.
That's my point. Our game for years, Braith. Yeah. And you know what? We always replace because we've got the best systems, the best pathways in international football.
And from this R360 point of view too, their main targets are going to be the European rugby players, aren't they, from England? The people over there that become
they're the
their
fans
audience.
that you want, right? So they're the fans that you want. Who are you going to play for? It's really hard when you watch them to fall in love with this side that you're not going to know too much about.
Have a couple of novelty players, yeah, but that's what.
Well, it's even like the Live Golf. Like they've done what they've done over there, and it just doesn't compare to the PGA Tour. Like they've made their millions, and good luck to them. And same with Paps and those guys if they want to go. But it's what legacy you want to leave too. Like you look at them, all the majors, and it's the PGA Tour. The Live guys a lot of them have fallen off a cliff, and they've got their money and they're set up for life. But what legacy do you want to leave? Why do you play the game? A lot of players don't just. I know that money's important, but they play it for grand finals. They play it, for achieving success and leaving a legacy in whatever sport they play. It's just whatever you play.
If you're being brutally honest too, like you push what is it the end of next year that this competition is
September
potentially starting, but then Melbourne's got a guy like Sulfalago, who he's ready to go. And how much longer can you hold him back?
And also, rugby league salary cap will more than likely increase with the next TV deal. It could go from 12 to 15 million. So the money is in rugby league. So if the Saudis want to come in, sure, they'll have more money than what we do. But if they're offering 1.5, he'll get that.
Did your salary cap go up with the journos?
My cap? No.
Yeah, with the new broadcast deal?
I don't do it for money, mate.
Okay.
If it would have, mate, you would have bought some new clothes.
You have a new shirt.
Gordon, I'll have you know this is Pierre Cardin. See the logo?
I think it says Lowe's.
Oh, well.
Ben Hunt
Paul Cardigan.
Ben Hunt isn't concerned after the weekend's loss, but admits the Broncos still have a lot of work to do.
I think we're in a pretty good position, really. I know everyone wants to get into that top 4, but we're still working out a few things about ourselves. I've only been back for 2 weeks. We've only had 1 week really with our full side together. And the thing is with Reece, he's just an ultimate competitor. When things are going right for a team, he feels like he has to step up and just staying in his role. And yes, he's probably overplays his hand now and then, but he's come from a good place of wanting to win and do what's right for the team. I think he'll be all right, the big fella. He's trained with us this week so far, and I think he just got a bit of a bump on his leg and he'll be right.
Yeah. All right, Reece Walsh, love the way that he plays. He's got so much X factor and he's a star of our game. But, Ben Hunt mentioned there that he kind of overplayed his hand a little bit the other night. How do you guys see this?
He did a couple of occasions, but that's the way he's played. Obviously, with the more experience he he just wants to score off every play, right? And you've got to love that. You don't want to coach it out of him, but he's just got to pick his time and place. And watching him in the last couple of weeks, I watched the Broncos closely, and if he didn't play some of those games, they wouldn't have won.
He turned their season around when he returned from injury, no question in the world.
Yeah.
But then last weekend, that performance, and all the great players always say, you've got to limit the difference between your best and your worst. And with Reece, it's not even from game to game, it's from moment to moment.
Yes.
And he's at that stage now where he's 23 years of age. I think he's played close to 90 NRL games already, and he owes it to the team to try and pull back on moments where some of those bullet passes or different things. Like, I agree totally with what you say, because his magic is what brought them to life this year. But, Gordy, if there are to be a hope of winning the comp this year or next year, Reece does have to grow up a bit.
Yeah, but Crawls, he's an entertainer. I said today, he's like a David Warner. He'll hit 100 off 60-odd balls, but he might nick the next one.
Yeah.
That's just what you're going to get. You can't laud him one week for being spectacular.
But the great ones do, Dog. The great ones do mature, and he's at that age now where it's probably time for him to try and get some of those mistakes out of his game.
I think you're both right. It's a natural progression. Like Billy Slater, he had errors in his game, and he kind of threw the pass a little bit too often when he shouldn't have, and played low percentage footy, and then all of a sudden he just put it all together over time, matured into one of the greatest fullbacks we'll ever see. It happens. Like, it's part, even with halves. Look at Galvin. You know, his biggest, we said last night, was overplaying his hand. He goes out on the weekend, you can tell he pulled it back a lot. And you know, you still want to see all this brilliance, but, you know, and you don't take it away from him, but it's up to him and just his, you know, his maturity, his progression to change. Now,
if Madge sucks the spirit out of that kid by saying pull back, I think it could ruin his career.
I don't think it's necessarily. Again, it's maturing, Dog. It's like Ray said, and I think at 23, it's time that he can.
Well, Madge has had something to say about the way in which they play. We have shown we are tough enough. We've beaten the Bulldogs twice. We were trying to go around Para. And passing to go around them rather than playing through them. You can't play too cute in the NRL. You have to earn the right. Gordy?
No, they're all. That's 100%. You've always got to earn the right in rugby league. The Dogs aren't the top of the tree. I think they're real challenges against Melbourne in the next couple of weeks, because that's probably going to be the benchmark. You'd say Melbourne and Penrith. So it's how they go against those guys. But they're lacking in the forwards. I said that early, and Payne Haas is injured at the moment. So without Payne going through the middle, they're probably one real big guy short in the middle. That's probably why they can't go through.
That was a critical loss on the weekend too, because when you put it in perspective, it puts them 4 points still behind the Warriors, doesn't it? So you're running out of rounds to pick up those points. Now the Panthers have jumped ahead of them. That could be season defining in the fact that ends their top four hopes.
It wasn't just that one game. I think you could probably go back to the start of the season where they might have lost their
But
right
they were on a
play.
roll since Reece came back.
They won 5 in a row. I don't think we should jump all over them right now for losing one game to Parramatta in a tight one. But yeah, Crawls, you are right. That top 4 spot might be just a mountain too high to climb right now.
The boys were divided last night about Payne Haas and whether he should be rested. Do you guys have an opinion on this?
100%. He looks like he needs a rest. Before the game, there was that vision. For weeks now, we've spoken about this. I think that, you know, like we've spoken previously about the fact that Madge, he flogs them. He flogs his players. He works them hard. He did it at Souths. He's done it everywhere he's been, and he's got to take that into consideration right now, because he's digging his heels in over this, and he's saying there's nothing wrong with Payne. We're going to keep playing. Gordy, you spoke about it last night.
I always say, because it's a totally different area than when I played. But when someone gets a head clash, father and son rule. If that's your son, would you make him play? And that's the way. And I think Payne, watching him play, the way he's played the last 5 years, he's been in everything, and he's done a lot. And if they can't afford to give him 2 weeks off to get himself right and find out his problem, they're not going to go deep into the finals. So if he keeps on limping off and getting injections or whatever he's getting and can't get through the session, Brisbane have no chance. So they got to bite the bullet now, give him a rest, because if he's firing at the end of the year, they're a chance.
Gordy, I spoke to Payne Haas in Origin camp.
Yep.
He said he hasn't been right since round 1, but he doesn't require surgery.
No.
So he said it'd be a long rehab that would get him fixed. So having 1 week off in round 22,
2 or 3.
I don't think it's going to fix the problem 1 week. He'd have to have 3 or 4 off. And I don't think they can afford to do that right now, given we're so close to the finals. The point I'm trying to make is 1 week, as you guys are suggesting, won't help nor fix Payne Haas.
There's also an emotional rest too. Like Buzz made the mention last night. I thought it was a really good point about the Panthers. Like, did Ivan really want to rest them, or did he do it because it was in their best interest when his players came back from Origin?
But they might
and Melbourne have done that in the past. And you say, OK, well, they need Payne out there to make the finals.
So what if he
but
pulls
Gordy's
his quad,
point
pulls
is,
his groin or pulls his hamstring and he's out for 6 weeks?
it's no use having him at the finals if he's not at his best.
Anyone can get injured. The Panthers rested their players, and good luck to Ivan, but that's probably because a week did them the world of good. I don't think Payne Haas's lower back problem is going to mend with a week out.
Well, look how good Gordy's come back after a week.
Yeah, it's a week off, dog.
Mate, you look so fresh.
I think you need
You
a
look
month.
$1 million.
You need a month of beauty sleep.
All right, let's take a look at the ins and outs for round 22. Thanks to Sportsbet. Poor doggy's copying it here tonight.
Oh, I can't.
All right, let's have a look. Papenhuyzen returns and Wishart to 7 with no Jerome Hughes for the Melbourne Storm. Cobbo to make his NRL return for the Bronx. Dodd and Munro both drop for the Bunnies. The Dragons halves remain unchanged, and Buller returns at fullback for the Tigers. But Fleno resists making change in the halves despite their losses.
Can I ask a question? Does Cole Flanagan cop a whack every week because of his ability or because he is the son of the coach? Gordon?
Both. I'd say both.
What can Lachlan Ilias bring to the side so Cole Flanagan
So in
can't?
the last 10 years, anytime your side loses, you always blame the halves or your spine. That's one of them, and his dad's the coach. And he's had a crack at other clubs and hasn't quite made it. So that's pretty much it. Is it fairly targeted? I'd say no at times with fans, but that's the NRL. If Luke Brooks' dad coached, what was happening there? Everybody polled on that poor kid. It just happens.
I would argue if Flano wasn't the coach, I don't think Cole would still be in the team, because you got to own up to the fact that, like, he tries his guts out. No one ever accuses him of not trying his guts out, but his kicking game hasn't been great. His game management hasn't been great. He doesn't pose a great attacking threat. You've got Lachlan Ilias, who Shane Flanagan brought to the club. He brought him to the club to play halfback. He got dropped because of his game management. He went back and he did what he had to do. They've lost their last 4 games, and Flano's dug his heels in, and he's not going to change. He's just not going to change. But is that because Cole's his son, or because Cole's just a player that he really believes is playing to the best of his ability, and Lockie can't come in and do something better?
Braith,
What do you think?
Can I ask you how Lachlan's going, emotionally and form-wise?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one to ask. Put me on the spot.
No, I know, but you're close to him.
Mate, well, you'd be struggling, right? So if you've got put back in reserve grade...
I'm just talking about his mental
I
state.
can't win, doggy, because you ask me that question and then, you know, Shane and the Dragons will think I'm having a crack. But if you want my honest opinion, that he's gone back and did everything he's asked of. You know, they won 10 out of 11 games, you know, and then pretty much because they lost 1 on the weekend, that's why he's not playing this week. But that, you know, I don't cop that because, you know, I've sat pretty quiet here, and you know that's because I don't want to get involved because it's pretty hard for me. But he couldn't do any more, and unfortunately for him, I'm trying to keep him up because he's losing hope, and I'm sure the other kid there is Glover is as well. But you know, it's very rare, right, that a New South Wales Cup team wins 10 out of 11, and the first grade team continues to lose, and a lot of it's based around game management and defence in those positions, which I've watched over the past few weeks, and there's no changes. So what hope do you have? And you know, I could be maybe I shouldn't say this but I had to because that's how I feel.
There's another layer to that too. There's another layer to the story in the fact that, you know, the Dragons senior management has come out in recent weeks and said that they're chasing a top line number 7. Well, you'd have to question, of the young guys coming through, would you want to send a young 7, like say Pezzett as an example, would you want to send him to the Dragons knowing that, mate, there's every chance Cole stays at 7? You know, like they've shown no trust in the bloke that they brought last year to play 7. So I think it's doing the club damage, and they might not want to admit it, but it's the truth.
All right. Thank you, Jono. Stick around. Tonight, following NRL 360, one of the game's greats, Greg Inglis sits down with Jake Duke on Face to Face.
Galvin on. Oh, Perez! You heard it at home. Lodge and Jake Trebojevic. Chasers getting through. Tracy there. And hammered by Tolucola. The physicality of Manly on show. So the try score. Oh, there's Lodge. Say, I really enjoyed your try, Sam. Cop that. My goodness, Matt Lodge is revved up and wound up today.
Welcome back. Those were our crunch time hits of the round, thanks to Red, Rooster and Doggy. Bulldogs Bite, what is it?
Bulldogs Bite's got a hell of a nip this week, Braith. I have suggested that players...
A hell of a nip this week.
Got a hell of a nip. You know what I'm a bit over, Braith? I'm over players haranguing and harassing referees, and you can see the photos here. Every week, they're now getting stuck into the referees. It's about influencing them. It's about intimidating them. It's going down to park football. Yes, they have a right to question, but now I'm finding non-captains are approaching the referee, and it's a bit of a gang mentality now. You can see it in games now. There's 2, 3, 4 players circling the referee. It's got to end. It's got to end, Braith. They've got to show more respect.
Because if you wind it back to when it was and everybody kept on questioning the referee, it was Cameron Smith was a master at it. By 30 seconds, right? And they're not as cool and calm as him. That's why the captain's challenge come in. If you're not the captain, please don't talk to me.
Shut up. Stop whinging.
You're fired up about this, aren't you, Dog?
You know what else bugs me? All this waving the arms. Stop waving your bloody arms around.
He's the captain. He's entitled.
Keep those arms down,
But
mate.
Doggy, if it's a captain, they're entitled.
They're entitled
Yes,
to
captain.
The rules
And
say you can
yes.
question it, but not debate it, Crawls. Look here. There's 3 of them around there now.
How long have they been doing it? Braith just
getting
mentioned
worse.
Cameron
No.
Smith.
It's getting worse.
You know what? Like they used to tell us to
He
go
used to
away.
run the game.
Mate, when they weren't mic'd up, the referees used to tell us where to go.
And the
which
referee
was so
should
good.
take back power. It's their job to take back
Well,
power. They
Dog
can
just
wave
go-
them away. They can sin bin them if they want to.
Well, that's what
but
I've
the
said.
captains are entitled to talk.
Excessive
Teddy's the
back
captain.
chat here.
What, the captains aren't allowed to talk?
I just said to you, Crawls, they're entitled to ask the question over a decision, but they're not entitled to debate every time. Look, here's 2 of them in there now.
Gus Gould, he wants the ref mics taken away. Thoughts on that?
Oh, I quite like the interaction. I quite like it through my television.
Yeah, no, I think it's all
It's a
entertainment.
great insight.
Don't think Fox would like that, would we?
You know what, Braith? If it goes on and on, I think you should say you can go and sit down for 10 minutes, and if you keep going, well, there's a contrary conduct charge coming
Have you
your way.
spoken
But
to
then
the
we got to say nothing about it then.
I'm sorry?
That means we got to back the referees then.
You have to back the referees. What's
Yeah,
what's
because
that
if someone
supposed to be?
says something and no matter what it is, and if they think they hear something and they make a decision, we can't sit here and talk about it.
You
and
blokes have
backflip.
never backed a referee ever, you journos? Have you?
No.
We're fair and equitable. with all
No,
this.
so the referee, when they did Origin, they were fair, weren't
Yeah.
Oh, apart from Perth. and
So
Syd- and
where's the
Sydney.
NRL stand on this?
Oh, the NRL are aware of it, Braith. Look, I don't think there's any immediate plans to try to say to everybody, get back and go away. But, I mean, look at the Dolphins down the bottom there. That's toward a touch judge. See, that's out of order in my eyes. There's 3 of them blowing up, waving their arms around.
But they
Well, that never happened.
They are
That's
allowed to
happened
dispute
since
a
1908,
decision.
hasn't
It's
it?
got worse,
Hey, Nick,
Braith.
what are
So,
you
well, you
talking
know
about?
what, in all fairness, sometimes the touch judges need a bit of a rev up.
Yeah, but
They get a
do you
bit
think
bored
that's
over
setting a
there.
good example?
Hey?
No, it's
But it
not.
happens everywhere.
it's flowing
Dog.
down to
in
park
bush
footy.
footy,
No.
if they miss
It
something,
is.
the
Kids, listen,
players will look
I'm
at the
involved with
touches.
junior rugby league and it's a
Do they
fantastic...
wave their arms around at that level?
Yeah, like...
There you go.
Yes, they do, and they all dive like Reece Walsh. They do all that, right? But they got to realise that it's not the NRL. That's just kid sport, and that comes down to the
Well,
parent.
I love how passionate you are about this, Dog. Stay
very
strong.
passionate,
Stay
mate.
strong.
It's a
with
real
it,
rip
mate.
this week.
The
No,
West
but I like
Tigers
it.
prepare to take on young superstar who left their club, and we know the reasons around that. This is an interesting one this week.
Is it live and exclusive on us, isn't it, too? At 2 p.m. on Sunday. What a game.
Could be a pressure cooker, this one, for both sides.
It's look, there's a lot of focus on Lachlan Galvin and the Bulldogs. I also think from a Tigers perspective,
It's good.
that, like, not only will be the crowd revved up, but the players will be revved up. And the one bloke that needs to keep his head, but I'm not sure he will, is Jerome, who's going to be standing opposite him. And he's known to be a bit of an antagonist over time. And it's probably important for him It'll be really interesting to see how Jerome handles this on the field.
I don't think Lachlan Galvin will get too worried. He's a young kid. He seems to block out the noise. He's got his own internal mechanism which seems to just avoid any sort of confrontation. He's very self-assured. And ironically, I think if it's at CommBank Stadium, the Tigers fans will boo him, but I think the Bulldogs fans will probably outnumber them anyway.
They'll aim up. The Doggies fans will aim up.
There'll be more Doggies fans than Tigers fans.
It is a bit of pill to. It is a bit of pill to swallow, right? Like what's happened here, this scenario with Lachlan, and wish him all the best. He's doing great, but you can only imagine what they're thinking, the Tigers, right? You can only imagine what they're thinking. We've sort of covered it long ago. How it all unfolded. The legal action, the bullying, and then he's gone to a premier club who can win a premiership, and he's coming to take on his old team, the Tigers.
The Tigers did ultimately let him go, Braith.
Come on, Doggy.
Oh, my God.
Well, they did.
It's amazing how
I'm not saying he was welcome there, but I'm just saying ultimately they did let him go.
Are you going to go to the game?
No.
I think the Tigers fans and the club, for that matter, have every right to be filthy how this all played out. Like, this was months in the making, Dog. And the way it was handled, and it's amazing, like I said, how they've managed to change the narrative on this. Yeah, it's almost become poor Lockie. When the Tigers were dead set left in the lurch, he had a year and a half to play out on his contract. We'll never know what happened with the bullying claims. But just the way this all transpired, it was disgraceful, and nothing changes that, mate. Good luck to the kid. I wish him the best, and he's playing terrific at the moment. His game on the weekend
don't
was
ask the Tigers fans
fantastic.
to forget.
Yeah, but
they won't be forgetting.
Don't cheer him.
You know what? In terms of how it all unfolded, you could argue that the manager handled it very effectively. He wanted to get his boy out, and every manoeuvre was very specific, very deliberate, and ultimately he got him out. And he got him to a club which can win a premiership. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it was moral, but I'm just saying how it all unfolded was done very meticulously.
Doesn't matter about morals, does it?
It's rugby league, Braith.
Well, not the referees getting attacked by the players.
It's rugby league. There are no morals.
All right, stick around, journos. Up next, it's the players' perspective with Warriors star Luke Metcalf. Welcome back. Let's cross live now to New Zealand, where Warriors star Luke Metcalf joins us now. Luke, it's amazing to have you on. I'm a huge fan of yours. Now, I hear you had your ACL surgery only a few days ago. How are you feeling?
Hey, Braith. Thanks for having me on, fellas. So I got the surgery last week, probably about 6 days ago, and feeling really good. Obviously, not the ideal situation, but everything's going fine and just on the crutches now and, getting around.
Hey, Luke, it's Gordy Tallis here, mate. Good luck with your recovery. I hadn't been to a Warriors game in about 20 years. I was there on the weekend. Your fans are unbelievable, mate. What's it like to play in front of a sold-out crowd most weeks?
Thanks for that, Gordy. It's awesome. Hey, pretty sure last year we sold out every home game. And just, you know that every time you go out to Mount Smart, regardless if it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're going to turn up and they ride the whole 80 minutes with you, regardless of what the scoreline is. They're backing you the whole way, and running out at a packed-out Mount Smart on a Friday night at 8 o'clock doesn't get much better. They turn all the lights off and the fireworks and the smoke get going, and you run out and you just get such a buzz and there's such an electric feeling in the stadium, so I love it.
Luke, Paul Crawley here. Further to that, mate, I guess, can you paint a picture about how the Wars have taken over New Zealand? Because across the country, it seems that the support is it's out of this world.
Yeah, you're right. It's pretty crazy. I think the whole 2023 Up the Wars movement sort of propelled rugby league in this country. Obviously, the way we played in 2023 was pretty good, getting to the game before the grand final, and then since then, I feel like it's just been progressing, and you're seeing a lot of young kids now coming through the Warriors Academy who have sort of been from Christchurch or from Wellington or Auckland, who have probably previously they've had to move away and go to Sydney and stuff like that, but now you're sort of seeing the rewards of the Warriors being such a big brand and able to see some young guys come through, so it's so cool for the whole of New Zealand.
Luke, it's Dean Ritchie. Jet Cleary lit up reserve grade last year. How long do you think it may be before we see young Cleary in the NRL?
Yeah, Jet's been going awesome. He's been playing flag this year and been playing a fair bit of cup as well. I know he went really good last week. I'm sure it won't be too far away. He's a really good fella. Get along with him really well, and I know that he puts a lot of work into his game, and something that works really hard. So I'm sure that's not too far away from him. But I know he's just putting his head down and playing every week, playing as best as he can, and I'm sure that wouldn't be too far away from him.
Look, you guys have had a great year. I mean, individually, yourself and as a team, but then a horror injury run again. You with the ACL and Barnett went down. Two key players. What's the vibe like over there? What's the belief like in the team to push into the finals and beyond?
Yeah, obviously it was probably frustrating to have Barney go down. Everyone saw the level he's gone to since he's come to the Warriors. He's played Origin, he's played for Australia now, so that was pretty heartbreaking for all of us to have him tear his ACL. And I'd probably say more important to the team. I know he's probably watching this, so probably off me. So then I go down. But so then I obviously hurt myself. But the boys they're real confident. They're a real confident bunch, and we've got a lot of young guys who are sort of ready to step in and fill the void of us too. And yeah, it's been awesome to see guys like Dimitrik and Lecker step up, Tennistel, Smith, the way they've sort of stepped into playing more minutes and playing full games and stuff like that. It's been awesome for me to see. So I feel like it's good for the club to sort of see some young guys who they've invested in, see what they're capable of.
Can you tell us something about Andrew Webster that we don't know? It looks like from afar that he's doing an amazing job. And what has he taught you since he's been there?
Yeah, I've loved being coached by Webby. I've always said to a lot of people that I learned a lot probably when I moved to the Warriors that first season. It's probably the most learning I've ever done in rugby league. He's just real detailed, like so fine details of just little things that you wouldn't even think of in rugby league, whether it's attack or defence or your kicking game, just little tiny things that he really opens your eyes up to thinking about it in a different way. And so it's been awesome to being able to learn off him the last few years. And yeah, that's probably one thing I would say is that he's real. We've never had a coach so focused on the little things that actually are big things in the bigger picture. So yeah, that's what I love about him.
What about James Fisher-Harris as a leader? Like, he's a man of few words, but obviously his actions have, had a major impact on the side too. Yeah, Fisher's been awesome. You saw it from day one when he came in. I was a little bit scared of him his first day. He came in and was a pretty intimidating guy, but he's actually he's a really lovely fella. And once you sort of speak to him a bit, he's really serious about his business, but he's actually such a lovely guy. And he's brought that leadership quality that he's obviously been at Penrith the last 4 years, won 4 comps in a row. So I feel like he's someone that's probably respected as soon as he walks into the building, and I think that's been something that's been awesome for us to sort of have this guy who's been there and done it. And I feel like him and Mitch Barnett sort of, as a co-captain duo, they sort of leaned on each other real well. And it's been really cool to sort of learn off Fish. And I feel like some of those younger boys who you're sort of starting to see get talked about now, I feel like he's passed a lot of wisdom on down to them too.
Yeah, Luke, from a veteran in Fisher-Harris to a young gun in Halasima, that match-winning try against Newcastle was spectacular. But what do you think of this kid? I mean, everyone's got big raps on him. We're seeing him play. I mean, it's freakish, the qualities that he possesses and the way that what he's produced so far. What's your take on him?
Yeah, I love Lecker. I still think he hasn't turned 20 yet. So it's crazy just the natural raw talent that he has. So I'm glad that I don't have to tackle him too much every week. But yeah, he's awesome. He's someone that he really studies the game a lot. Actually, like he wants to learn. He's not just relying on his natural talent to sort of just get him through. Like, from the outside looking in, it could look like that because he's so naturally talented and gifted. But he's someone that actually works really hard. He wants to get better. He wants to improve his defense, and he wants to get little things right in attack. He wants to know which space to attack, which hole to get through off his half. Like, he's really learning that sort of stuff. So once he can nail a lot of that stuff down, which, like I said before, he's only still 19 years old. So it's going to be pretty scary for the next couple of years once he sort of gets that stuff down pat, how good he's going to be.
Luke, my favourite radio DJ was Richard Mercer, the love god. Can you explain to me the love sign and the candle next to you? Are you an old romantic?
Yeah, that's actually something I put together for my fiance. Actually, she's been looking after me really well, so I just thought I'd light some candles for her. I've actually got a bottle of red wine and a steak and stuff cooked there for her. After this, we'll have it, and yeah.
You're an old smoothie, Luke.
Yeah. Good on you, Luke.
And put on a bit of meatloaf for the Metcalf.
One of the great romantics. Thanks for coming on the show, mate. We really appreciate it. The Warriors fans love you. We love you. And get that ACL right, and we'll see you back and flying next year.
No worries, legends. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
What a champion. He is a champion. I've interviewed him a couple of times, and he's impressive. Like, you know, as a young man, you know, not only on field, he's been fantastic, but the way he talks, and he's a real, his IQ for rugby league's up there with the best.
How he's added to his game, and he wants to go to the top level, and you know, they're just buzzing over there. And it's a bit of a shame that they've got those injuries, but they're still in there with the fight, the Warriors. So hopefully they can knuckle down and win a few games, finish in the top 4, and you know, give that great country a few home finals.
It was so sad, wasn't it, to see him go down? Because at the start of the season, that Warriors game, and I know I did, and others come out and questioned him playing the 7.
Yeah.
And then from there, just every week he just turned up, and he was so magical. And yeah, it's unfortunate reality of rugby league.
All right, are you a romantic just before we go?
Oh, I certainly am.
I could see you as a romantic.
Certainly am.
Richard,
What sort of candles, Braith?
What sort of candles do you buy?
They've just got to pay, that's all.
You're very romantic. We'll leave on that. Thank you very much, boys. You're outstanding tonight. Following NRL 360, it's Face to Face with Greg Inglis, Part 1. Welcome back. Let's get down to NRL HQ with James Hooper. What's going on down there, Hoops?
Yeah, there's a little bit of fireworks inside this judiciary hearing, Braith. So the NRL prosecutor actually challenged Jack Wighton why he wasn't prepared to give evidence, and he's been reprimanded by the NRL Judiciary Chairman, Jeff Bellew. He said he's not obligated to give evidence. He has opted to have his legal representation mount his argument. Perhaps it was the last time that Jack was down here. The same NRL counsel asked him a question, and Jack said, well, mate, how many games of rugby league have you played? So there has been a little bit of colour at the moment, though. Crucially, they are actually deliberating. So ultimately, it's going to come down to the decision of ex-referee Greg McCallum, Queensland and Australian champion forward Bobby Lindner, and they are deliberating as we speak, Braith. Yep. For all the latest, it'll be on Fox Sports website very shortly.
Okay, thank you, Hoops. There it is. Check out foxsports.com.au if you want to hear what actually happens down there at NRL HQ. Thank you, Gordy. That's it.
Thanks, Braith.
For NRL 360 for tonight. Now it's time for Face to Face.